The opposition.
I can't believe that just happened.
Taxes on the working poor, and yet that is exactly what the minister admits she will do. She admits that raising the EI premiums, the EI payroll taxes, will take $2.5 billion extra dollars out of the hands of Canadian workers, and not to fund EI. She also admits through her own public filings that the government will take $10 billion more in EI taxes than it will pay out in benefits, money that the Prime Minister will raid from the account and spend however he likes. Will the Prime Minister get his hands off the EI fund and the paychecks of our workers?
Yeah.
Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
The EI contribution rate today is 1.58. Next year, it'll go up to $1.63. Both of those rates are lower than the EI contribution rate was in every single year when Stephen Harper was Prime Minister.
Let me guess. She's going to throw crypto into it.
Who was actually the employment minister during those years, now wants to slash our contributions. So who do the Conservatives think was the better economic manager? Prime Minister Harper or their new leader?
Dude, she's got September 26th answer written down. She just said the exact same thing.
In on answering questions, Mr. Speaker. We'll be doing more of it when we're in government soon. But in fact, EI payments have gone up for the average $60,000 a year worker from $930 when I was the minister to $948 now. That's a small increase, but the big $2.5 billion tax increase is just ahead. This minister admits the money won't even go to EI. It'll go to government spending. Why won't they get their hands off the EI fund and the paychecks of our workers?
Yeah. Deputy Prime Minister.
You know, Mr. Speaker, in 2015, a Canadian earning $49,500 a year paid $931 in EI premiums. Next year, that same Canadian will pay $807. That's nearly $125 less than she paid when the Conservative leader was the minister in charge. So, yet again, Mr. Speaker, Canadians really need to understand whose policies do Conservatives support, Stephen Harper's or their new leaders?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
And both. And the total payroll tax of a $60,000 a year earner went from $3,400 under the previous Conservative government to $4,168 today. And the reality is, none of that was necessary, and they want to use the money for anything but EI. Mr. Speaker, on top of that, now they plan to triple the carbon tax, raising gas, heat, and grocery costs, and killing jobs for many people in many sectors. Their policy is paychecks down and costs up. And in fairness, they're succeeding at both. Will they stop that policy and cancel their tax hikes?
Prime Minister.
Guaranteed she's still going to talk about crypto.
Mr. Speaker, I've already explained that Canadians earning around $50,000 a year next year will pay $125 less in EI premiums. But now I want Conservatives to come clean on what they want to do to our pensions. Their proposal is an irresponsible scheme to eviscerate our pensions. As Rob Carrick pointed out, quote, Canada Pension Plan premiums are not a tax. The CPP is the bedrock of a Canadian retirement plan. The Conservatives want to undermine all of our pensions, but we won't let them.
The Leader of the Opposition.
That is absolutely false. Conservatives protected the CPP, increased benefits for seniors every single year we were in office, and did it without any tax increases at all. We can do that again. Everybody agrees we should keep contributing. Nobody agrees that we have to hike taxes on workers to do it. But back to the carbon tax. They want to triple this tax on groceries, gas, and heat at a time when Canadians can barely afford to pay their bills. They want to add 40 cents a litre to gas taxes.
Triple the carbon tax.
40-year high inflation. Will the government cancel this tax on Canadian energy?
Heyo.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let's get serious.
Yesterday at the pump. Yesterday at the pump. $2.25.
Have a serious climate plan, and that means he he doesn't have a serious economic plan. The economic reality is our most important trading partners, the U.S., the EU, our customers, our markets, are all taking aggressive climate action.
Welcome to the pit, Clyde. Do something.
We cannot afford to fall behind. Our economy cannot afford it.
Economy can't afford it because you guys keep spending all our money.
Mr. Speaker, according to Radio-Canada, the federal government is turning Roxham Road
Blood is boiling,
into
man.
a permanent facility, and it's already cost us at least $500 million. The feds have signed contracts until at least 2027. Hotels, land, trailer rentals, etc. This is all a done deal until 2027 minimum. That's why they're not suspending the Safe Third Country Agreement. That's why they're not cracking down on criminal people smugglers. They want it to last. They like it. Mr. Speaker, making Roxham Road permanent is in whose interests exactly?
I gotta get hyped. Everybody in the chat, drop down a mic. Drop a mic emoji down in the chat for the mic drop that the translator did for translating Mr. Speaker over here, where he did the Mr. Speaker and the translation. Drop a mic emoji.
With stakeholders
That was awesome.
on the issues at our borders, and we work with our U.S. counterparts on questions related to our common border, including the Safe Third Country Agreement. We will always work very closely with our partners. Thank you. The Honourable Member for La Prairie. Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you who has an interest in making Roxham Road permanent. Criminals who traffic in people. Criminals who see families in despair and think there's a buck to be made there. And liberal donors who get government contracts. They're all laughing to death, Mr. Speaker. They know Roxham Road won't close for at least 5 years and maybe never. Thanks to the federal government, they can turn their little racket into a booming industry. Why is the government giving them business instead of thinking of the welfare of migrants and closing down Roxham Road for good? The Right Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'd like to underscore the fact that we believe in the strength of our asylum system and our immigration system, and we are working with our U.S. counterparts on all issues related to our shared border, including the Safe Third Country Agreement. And I'd like to say to our colleagues, the members of the bloc, that we can and we must work together on immigration because it's an economic issue for Quebec and all of Canada.